Good evening, or whatever time it is where you're listening. This is Alex Reed, and if you're still able to hear this, then you're still part of the world, or at least what's left of it. We are live, well, as live as anyone can be, broadcasting from station 103.7. I'll be your voice through this long night. The signal's weak, the generator's running on fumes, and outside the wind sounds different now. Heavier, like it knows something's coming. It's official. The president is in the bunker. The red key has turned. We're at DEFCON 1. I don't say that to scare you. I say it so we all know what we're standing in. We crossed the final line. This isn't about exercises or drills or rumors anymore. This is real. Nuclear war is not just a threat, it's the plan. Earlier today, there were flashes in the sky over the Atlantic. Not lightning, not weather. Satellites picked it up. Submarine-launched missiles. Unknown origin. Multiple launch points. Within 10 minutes, Air Force One was airborne. 10 more, and it disappeared off radar, encrypted, cloaked. By noon, the vice president was escorted out of a press briefing. No answers, no words, just a look. You know the kind. That kind of fear doesn't lie. Then the EAS alert came. Most of you heard it. That grinding tone that used to feel so far away suddenly felt like it was sitting in your own chest. This is not a test. Those words weren't written for comfort. It's been 5 hours since then. And in those 5 hours, the country has started to come apart, not with chaos, not yet, but with this strange quiet. Like everyone's holding their breath. Like maybe if we're still enough, it'll miss us. Phones are still up in some areas, power's flickering in and out across the Northeast. But there are blackouts in DC, Philly, Chicago, parts of the Gulf Coast. Some of it's grid failure. Some might not be. I spoke to a man in Nevada about an hour ago. Said he saw jets, low and fast, headed west. No markings, no lights. Said the air felt heavier after they passed. Not just sound, weight, like the sky was pressing down. And then there's the reports from Anchorage. People there are saying they saw lights streaking over the ocean. Too fast, too controlled to be natural. One listener said it looked like metal lightning, then static. No one's heard from them since. If you're just tuning in, here's what we know. The presidential bunker has been sealed. Continuity of government protocols are active. Strategic forces have been put on full alert. DEFCON 1. Total war posture. The only step after this is silence. You might be wondering why I'm still here. Still talking. Still broadcasting. Because someone needs to. You need to know that you're not alone. You need to know that someone's out here, still watching the horizon, still listening to the wind, still refusing to go quiet. There's something about being the last voice people hear. It matters. And if this is the end of things, if this is the moment the old world slips under the waves, I'd rather go down speaking than in silence. I've got reports coming in from shortwave, scattered voices, broken signals. A lot of them are saying the same things. Military convoys spotted on back roads, fighter jets circling low over farmland, air raid sirens in cities that haven't used them in 50 years. Some people are running. Others are digging in. A woman in Kansas said her dad never got rid of the fallout shelter he built in the 80s. Crazy old man, she used to call him. Not anymore. She said it smelled like dust and regret down there, but it felt safer than the surface. Another caller from southern Texas said the border is locked, not just guarded, sealed, armed patrols. Nobody in, nobody out. And then there's the rail lines. Trains hauling something east. Not commercial, no logos, covered cargo, guarded cars. Every 10 miles, a chopper overhead. I don't know what they're moving, but whatever it is, they're not moving it to save us. And now, we've got new movement over the Pacific. Air Force scrambled from Hawaii. No confirmation yet, but the last time we saw this kind of flight pattern, it was before Iraq, before Syria. But this time the scale is bigger. We've never seen all the flags drop to half-mast before anything happened. Not like this. If you're listening from the western states, California, Oregon, Washington, keep your radios close. The next hours may be the most important of your life. There's chatter about evac corridors, routes being cleared through the Sierras, military-escorted caravans moving inland. If you hear code words like Emerald Route or Safe Wind, those are confirmed corridors. I repeat, Emerald Route and Safe Wind. Those are the terms to listen for. But don't wait for a knock. If you've got gas, a car, and someone you care about, go. Don't look back. I'm hearing from listeners in Denver that the National Guard's taken over the airport. Runways cleared, planes inbound. But they're not for civilians, not anymore. One last thing before I go quiet for a bit. Just enough to let the transmitter rest and save what little power we've got. I want to talk to the kids. Yeah, I know. Most people don't think about the kids when the sirens start, but they're listening. They always are. If you're a parent, hold them close. Tell them the truth, but don't drown them in it. Remind them that fear doesn't have to control them, that staying quiet, staying calm, can be its own kind of bravery. To the kids out there, this isn't your fault, and it's okay to be scared. But remember that the grown-ups are trying. We're doing what we can to keep you safe. And no matter what happens, your life still matters. This is Alex Reed, Station 103.7, signing off for now. I'll be back in 20. If the signal's still up, I'll be right here. Hold fast. Stay human. You're back with Alex Reed on 103.7. If this frequency is still coming through, then I'm still alive. And so are you. The air feels different now. Not just cold, but tense. Like even the trees know something's wrong. I stepped outside during the break. Not far, just far enough to feel it. The wind was still, but the silence was louder than any storm I've ever stood in. Let me catch you up. 10 minutes ago, the emergency broadcast system pushed out a second-tier message. Most places won't get it. The carriers are jammed. But I caught enough through the static to make out the big one. Strategic missile defense has gone active. That means interceptors are in the air. Some have already launched. Nobody's saying what they're intercepting, or who sent it. But if they're in the air, then something's coming. A former technician from Cheyenne Mountain called in just moments ago. Said the base hasn't been this sealed since 2001. Everything's underground. Doors locked. Vents shut. The kind of lockdown you only initiate when you're not planning to open again. He said they had drills for this. Back then, people thought it would come from some rogue actor, a madman in a bunker, a mistake. But this feels deliberate. There are rumors, lots of them. Russian movement near the Baltics, Chinese naval groups pulling back from the Pacific lanes. Israeli command structure has gone completely dark. No confirmations, of course. But that's the thing about war. The truth always comes in last, bleeding and out of breath. I heard from a nurse in Ohio. She said the hospital cleared out the ICU, not to send people home, to make space. For what? they weren't told. She said everyone's moving like they already know what's coming, even if no one says it. A convoy passed her on the freeway. 20 armored trucks, no markings, just flashing white lights and no sirens. Not military standard. Private maybe. Contracted. Armed. People always think when the world ends, it'll be loud. Explosions. Screaming. Panic. But I'm telling you now, it doesn't start that way. It starts with quiet, with unanswered phones and too many empty streets. It starts with the sound of nothing at all. There's been a hit on the East Coast. Not nuclear, at least not yet. But something, a massive blackout over New Jersey and parts of Pennsylvania. Grid failure or sabotage, no one's sure. The strange thing is, no one's claiming it. No foreign broadcast, no responsibility, just silence. Sometimes silence says everything. I know it's hard to sit in the dark, harder still to sit and wait. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Not the panic, not the fear, but the waiting. The awful stillness while the clock ticks forward and you don't know if it's counting down or just counting out. So here's what you do. If you've got supplies, check them. Don't panic, just look. Water, batteries, something to eat that doesn't need a stove. Flashlights, blankets, radios. Don't use candles unless you have no choice. Too easy to knock over in the dark. Keep your phone off unless you're checking for updates. Power is precious now. Charge everything when you can. And most of all, stay off the roads. There are too many reports of gridlock, abandoned cars, roadblocks without explanation. If there's no siren in your town yet, don't wait for it to come. Shelter in place. Concrete is better than wood. Basements are better than attics. Inner rooms are best. Put as much between you and the outside as you can. If you're lucky enough to live out in the country, you've got a better shot. Fewer targets. More space. Just remember, no place is off the map when the map itself is burning. A teacher from Wyoming sent a message through the relay net. She's hunkered down with 20 kids in an old schoolhouse that hasn't seen heat in years. They're using chalkboards for insulation, burning old textbooks to keep warm. She said the kids are quiet, too quiet. But one of them made a drawing. It was a tree, still standing, with people under it holding hands. She pinned it above the door. Because even when everything breaks, we still reach for each other. If you're listening from overseas, from anywhere that's not in the direct path of this storm, I want you to know that we're still here. We don't know how long we'll be here, or if anyone's coming to help. But we're not gone yet. And if we go, we'll go as people. Not as numbers, not as statistics. As people who remembered each other. To the man who called from a radio outpost in northern Minnesota. I heard you. Your voice cracked, but you didn't. You asked if anyone was listening. I am. We all are. You're not alone. If you've got a story, a name, a message, send it. Call. Tap it out in Morse. Shout it at the sky. This frequency's open. And even if I can't answer right away, I'll hear you. I always do. There's movement at the edge of my radar now. Not literal. Mine's too old for that. But a gut feeling. A heaviness. The kind of weight the sky carries right before everything changes. This is Alex Reed. And I'll stay here as long as I can. Until the static wins. This is Alex Reed, back on 103.7, and we're still here. If you're just tuning in, or if you're holding your breath in some basement, garage, or school hallway, Know this: the presidential bunker has been sealed. The country is officially at DEFCON 1. That's not a scare tactic. That's what the Pentagon uses when all options are off the table except the worst one. I don't know how much time we've got before everything changes. I just know we're closer now than we were an hour ago. The last transmission I picked up came from a relay tower outside Boise. The signal was garbled, but one thing was clear. They lost contact with NORAD's early warning system for nearly 4 minutes. 4 minutes. That's all it takes. 4 minutes from silence to ash. I want to talk to the people who are still trying to hold it together. I know you're out there. People with families. People who refused to panic. Who kept cooking dinner, folding laundry, hoping it was all just smoke. But it's not. It's happening. And I hate saying that out loud. Because saying it means there's no waking up tomorrow with things back to normal. But lying to you would be worse. And I won't do that. Not now. A trucker just called in from outside Flagstaff. Said the highways are crawling. Not with police or FEMA, but with armed civilians. Pickups with roof racks. Some are blocking exits, turning people back. Said one group set up a roadblock using abandoned semis and concrete debris. They're not looting. They're not yelling. They're just watching. I don't know what that means, but I can guess. Out there, the old rules are falling apart. Law doesn't live on the roads anymore. Only preparation and numbers do. So if you're alone, get to someone. If you're with someone, stay together. If you're lucky enough to be near family, don't waste a second. I got a message through a ham relay from a girl outside Des Moines, 17. Said she and her younger brother are alone. Parents never came home from work. Phones dead. She found a crank radio in the garage, tuned into this station. Said she didn't know what to do, just that she didn't want to feel crazy for being scared. You're not crazy. You're awake. And that might be the most dangerous thing in the world right now. I don't know your name, but if you're still listening, find somewhere low and solid. Block the windows. Keep water near. Light only if you must. Stay quiet. Survive the first wave. Then, we'll figure out the rest together. Some of you may be wondering what happens when the signal dies. What happens when the grid fails, the towers fall, and there's no voice on the other end? The answer is simple. You keep talking, even if no one answers. You whisper to the people next to you. You write messages on the walls. You pass along maps, routes, warnings, hope, whatever you can carry. Because that's what we've always done. Long before we had microphones or airwaves. We passed stories like fire in the cold. You want to know what resilience looks like? It's a father outside Cincinnati who turned his root cellar into a shelter last spring. People laughed at him, called him paranoid. Yesterday, he sheltered 6 families down there. People who once called him crazy, now huddled together by candlelight, wrapped in silence. It's a janitor from Queens who welded shut the back doors of the school gym, packed it with bottled water and dry food, and gave keys to 3 teachers before disappearing into the smoke. It's the soldier who messaged this station from the Utah desert, said he was ordered to guard an airfield, but the planes never came. Instead of leaving, he stayed, opened the gates to civilians, shared his rations, waits by the radio every night, hoping someone will call back. That's resilience. Not guns, not bunkers, not bravado, just people refusing to quit on each other. I've been broadcasting for years, through blizzards, through blackouts. I've read storm warnings, fire warnings, civil alerts, chemical spills. But this is different. This isn't a moment we come back from. It's a moment we live through, if we're lucky. I know what some of you are thinking, that maybe this is all just fear run wild, that maybe the missiles will never fly, the buttons will never press, the bunkers will open again in a week, and someone will say, it was all one big misunderstanding. Maybe. But I've been watching this world for a long time, and I can tell you, the signs are all there. Too many troops in too many places. Too many silences where answers used to be. Too many eyes looking toward the sky. A former radar tech just called from northern Alaska. Said he watched 6 contacts fly over the Bering Strait and disappear. Not aircraft, not birds. Too fast, too cold, too clean. Whatever they weren't supposed to be there. And then there's this. Just came in. A coded message intercepted from a naval submarine in the Pacific. Repeated use of the word resurgence. Again and again. Nobody knows what it means. Some say it's a call sign. Some think it's a fallback directive. Others think it's the name of an op that hasn't been made public. Whatever it is, it means movement. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I don't know if you will. But I know this. If we go down, we do it awake. No more pretending. No more silence. We speak until the sky falls. And even then, we leave something behind. This is Alex Reed, still with you, still holding the line. I'll be back after the break if I can. Hold fast. Hold each other. Stay alive. This is Alex Reed, back on 103.7. The air is still humming with tension, like the ground itself is waiting for a command. If you're hearing this, it means the station's backup relay is holding. The solar array is weak, but the batteries still have a charge. For now, that's enough. For now, we speak. It's been 20 hours since the president was moved underground. No new statement, no public face, no signs of movement from the White House, just a sealed door somewhere deep in the Colorado bedrock. If there's still a government above ground, it's quiet. If there's a plan, we're not part of it. DEFCON 1 remains active. The world hasn't exploded, but the clock is still ticking. Reports are coming in from across the Midwest, strange flashes in the sky. Not bombs, not yet, just light. Fast-moving, high-altitude light. Silent. People are calling them ghost lights. Some say it's experimental aircraft. Others say it's something worse, something unmanned. But the silence is louder than the movement. We're watching, but no one's speaking. I just got off the line with a group near St. Louis. They've holed up in an old church with stained glass windows and a cracked bell tower. They've got 1 generator, 2 rifles, a week of food, and a 5-year-old who keeps asking when things will go back to normal. The father didn't have an answer. He asked me to speak to her. So, if you're listening, little one, your name is Molly, right? This is for you. I don't know when the lights will come back, or when your school will open, or when it'll be safe to go outside again. But I can promise you this. You're not forgotten. Not by your parents, not by the people around you, and not by me. You're the reason we're still talking, still hoping. One day, the sky will be blue again. One day, you'll laugh outside without fear. I don't know when, but I believe it will happen. And until then, stay close to your family. Hold their hands. That's your shelter now. We've got new transmissions coming out of northern Canada. Relay stations that went dark for over a week have come back online. They're faint, crackling, but real. A string of survivors, scientists, engineers, families, holed up in an abandoned NORAD outpost. They're calling themselves the Northern Line. Their signal is weak, but growing stronger by the hour. They're building something, maybe just a radio network, maybe more. But it's one of the only signs of forward motion we've heard in days. One of them said this in a broadcast: "If the cities fall, we rebuild from the ice." It's a grim rallying cry, but it's something. Down south, things are worse. Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, power is down in every major city. Interstate travel is nearly impossible. Bridges are blockaded. Rail is suspended. Oil refineries have gone quiet. Some were shut down. Some were burned. A listener near Baton Rouge said it looks like the horizon is on fire. Not one flame. Dozens. Controlled burns, maybe. Or maybe someone's trying to keep something from spreading. No confirmation either way. Someone else, an old sailor from Galveston, said he's taking to the Gulf. Said the sea is the only place that still feels open. He's heading toward open water in a boat he calls the Cicada. Doesn't know where he's going. Just knows he doesn't want to be here when the ground starts to shake. If you're thinking of going out to sea, be careful. There are rumors of rogue naval vessels, ships no longer answering to anyone. Armed, unmarked. They patrol the coasts and don't ask questions. I've spoken to someone who saw one. They didn't wave. They didn't signal. They just floated, watching. We don't know who they belong to. Maybe no one. I got a strange report from New Hampshire. A woman said she heard a siren from the old Cold War tower on Bear Mountain. It hasn't sounded in 40 years. The town didn't know the wiring still worked. No announcement followed. Just the tone. People came out of their homes, stared up at the hills, and waited. But nothing came. No jets, no convoy. Just a warning in a language we no longer understand. Let me be clear about something. We don't know what happens next. There's no script for this. No protocol for a world that inches toward collapse but doesn't quite tip. Everything feels paused, like the whole planet is in the moment between a heartbeat and a breath. But here's the thing, we're still here. That matters. We haven't been wiped out. We haven't disappeared. We're bruised, scared, scattered, but breathing. And while we're breathing, we talk, we move, we plan, we endure. I want to read a message sent in by a woman named Lena from outside Detroit. She says, "We built a wall of shipping containers and old cars, wired up motion sensors from a junkyard, painted signs that say, 'Keep out' in 3 languages. It's not perfect, but it's home now. And there are kids here." One of them sang happy birthday to her mom yesterday. There was no cake, just light from a broken TV screen, but she smiled. That's survival. That's how we win. Not with fire, not with bullets, but with singing when there's nothing left to sing about. So, if you're still listening, do something for me. Tonight, before you sleep, if sleep comes, look around. Look at who you're with. If you're alone, think of someone. Light a candle. Hum a tune. Write something on the wall. Mark this moment. This isn't the end of the story. It's just the hardest part to survive. And we will, together. This is Alex Reed. I'll check in again soon. Power willing. Until then, keep the signal alive. Hold fast. Alex Reed here, 103.7, still on the air, barely. Signal strength is low. Generators down to a sliver of power. but the mic's still live. And so is the truth. It's been 23 hours since the president disappeared underground. 23 hours since DEFCON 1 went into effect. Still no official statement, no press briefing, no calming voice from a podium. Just static. The kind of static that fills a vacuum when leadership vanishes and the country forgets how to breathe. I want to talk to you straight. Now. Not as a broadcaster. Not as someone reading from a script. Just as one voice to another. They're not coming. The officials, the fleets, the planes with food and water and calm orders. They're not coming for you. Not now. Maybe not ever. This is it. Whatever happens from here, it's you and the people around you. That's your government now. That's your system. People who share food, who guard doors, who hold each other through the night when the windows rattle from some far-off boom. People who sit by shortwave radios, waiting for a voice, any voice, to cut through the dark. That's where we're at. There are rumors now that we've lost 2 satellites, 1 military, 1 civilian, no confirmation, just dead feeds and a black ring on the monitor where the Earth should be. If that's true, that means we're blind in places that used to be watched. It means we don't know what's coming, or from where, or who pressed the button. And that's what haunts people now. Not the blast, but the not knowing. Not knowing if it's already been launched. Not knowing if this silence is the calm before or the echo after. Some are saying it already started. I heard from a man in Maine. Said he saw something fall into the sea. Said the clouds lit up, and for 5 minutes the air smelled like copper and burning rubber. Said his compass stopped working. Said his skin hasn't stopped itching since. He's not the only one. All along the coast, people are reporting strange skies, strange tides, salt water rising in basements where it's never reached, fish washing up in places that haven't seen life in years. It might be nothing. But right now, nothing is too expensive to ignore. A woman called from Nevada. Her voice was rough, like she'd been crying but didn't want anyone to know. She said the military convoy we heard about last night. It passed through her town at dawn. No stopping, no announcements, just a wall of tires and armor. She stood outside with her son and waved. No one looked at her. And maybe that's what this moment is really. A world turning its back on itself, moving too fast to notice who's left behind. But she's still there, and so are we. I got word from a man in Saskatchewan. He's old, voice like gravel in winter wind. Said he and 4 others are staying in an abandoned grain silo. Said the acoustics are terrible, but the walls are thick. He ended the message with this: "We're not waiting for rescue. We're planting potatoes in plastic bins. No sun, but maybe that's a good thing now." He laughed a little when he said it. And that sound, that tired, bitter, still somehow living laugh, it stuck with me. Because that's what's left. Not joy, not peace, but the thin thread of survival strung between people who refuse to go quiet. Let me tell you what I see outside my window right now. Nothing. No cars, no planes, no smoke. Just a frozen moment in time. The birds stopped chirping an hour ago. The power line hum is gone. It's like the world is exhaling for the last time and waiting to see if breath returns. I know many of you have locked yourselves in. I don't blame you. But don't lock your heart too. Not yet. If there's someone with you, tell them a story. Tell them what it used to be like. What streetlights sounded like when they buzzed. what the microwave sounded like when popcorn was ready, what it felt like to hold someone's hand at the movies. Don't let the old world vanish without a trace. Let it echo. Let it live in you. The world may be ending, yes, but it's not over yet. You're listening. You're breathing. And that means the story's still being written. I got a message, scrawled on a napkin, wrapped in plastic, and sent by courier from one town to another like it was sacred text. It said, "There's a place west of the Rockies where the wind still sounds like wind. No sirens, no planes, just quiet, real quiet. We call it Shelter Point. If you're reading this, come find us." No map, no instructions, just a name, Shelter Point. I don't know if it's real. But if you're near the mountains, listen for the wind. Sometimes hope is a sound we forgot to believe in. I'll keep this frequency alive as long as I can. When the batteries die, I'll switch to hand crank. When that fails, I'll use smoke signals if I have to. Because someone has to be the voice in the dark. And tonight, that voice is mine. This is Alex Reed. I'll be back soon, if the air still lets me. Hold the line. Stay human. You're listening to 103.7. I'm Alex Reed. If you're still with me, if your battery hasn't died and your walls are still standing, then you and I, we're part of what's left. Still breathing, still listening, still trying. I just lit a candle. The last bit of solar charge gave out an hour ago. The radio's running on a crank, and my voice probably sounds like it's coming from underwater by now. But I'm not leaving. Not while there's still breath in me. Not while there's still someone out there scanning the static, hoping for something, anything, that sounds human. We've now been under DEFCON 1 for just over a day. There's still no official update from the bunker. No addresses, no handshakes, no salutes. Just silence and shadows. Rumors fill the gaps where leadership used to be. Some say the president isn't even alive anymore. Others say he's being moved deeper underground. There's talk of a second layer, someplace even more protected, someplace no one comes back from. We've lost contact with 6 more relay towers tonight. No explosions, no storms, just gone. Like someone pulled the plug on pieces of the world. And yet, in the dark, we find each other. A man in Oklahoma reported a convoy of school buses moving south under military escort. Not for students, for families. Said the buses were spray-painted black, numbers scratched off, windows covered with makeshift armor. He tried to follow. They waved him off. One soldier pointed a rifle at his windshield and mouthed the words, "Turn around." He did. They didn't shoot, but they didn't help either. The man's voice shook when he told me. Not from fear, from something worse, from knowing that, in the end, his life didn't make the list, that someone, somewhere, drew a line, and he was on the wrong side of it. There's a word I keep thinking about tonight. Friction. Not the kind that starts fires, the kind that slowly wears things down. Hope, trust, memory, bit by bit, piece by piece, until you forget what the world was like before everything started falling apart. But I haven't forgotten, and I won't let you forget either. Before this station became a lifeline, it was just a small-town signal. Played old records, took birthday requests, helped lost dogs find their way home. It didn't matter much. But now it's the only thing some of you have. A woman from upstate New York called in. Her name's Angela, lives in a trailer with her husband and their disabled son. She said the power went out 3 days ago and hasn't come back. They have no generator, no neighbors within 5 miles. She found an old radio in the attic, cracked and dusty, and managed to get it working with a car battery. Said this station was the first voice they'd heard since the dark came. She asked me, "Are we already dead and just not buried yet?" "No, Angela, you're not dead. You're just waiting to live again. And when the world starts turning, when the lights flicker back on, it'll be because people like you refuse to disappear quietly." I got a ping from Alaska, a man who lives off-grid. Said the auroras look strange tonight, too red, too low. Said the snow's falling even though the sky is clear. He doesn't trust it, neither do I. The natural world is acting unnatural, and that should terrify us more than any missile. To those in coastal regions, there's an alert, unconfirmed but persistent. Reports of rising tides that don't follow any known cycle. Storm surges without storms. Some say it's from undersea detonations. Others say it's the Earth reacting to what's happening on the surface. Whatever the cause, don't trust the ocean right now. If you live near the water, move inland as far as you can. Tonight, if possible. It might be nothing. But in times like these, nothing is too dangerous to bet against. To the group holed up in an abandoned subway tunnel under Chicago, you're not alone. I got your Morse code tap. The rhythm was off at first, but I recognized it. You spelled out a name, Nina. You said, "Tell Nina I made it to the tracks. Tell her the light still works." I don't know who Nina is. But if she's listening, he made it. He's alive, and he's looking for you. Sometimes that's all we need. One thread, one voice, one reason to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when there's no road left. Let me tell you something I haven't said out loud yet. I'm scared. I don't know if that breaks some rule of radio broadcasting. I don't care. I'm scared. I sleep in shifts now, 20 minutes at a time. I dream about phones ringing with no one to answer, about highways filled with headlights that never move, about voices screaming through walls I can't break through. But then I wake up, and I do this because it matters, because you matter, and because if I don't say these things, no one will. To the boy in Montana who wrote in saying he was building a signal tower from scraps and wire, you're brilliant. Keep going. Don't stop. Build it tall. Build it bright. Maybe someone will hear you. Maybe everyone will. And maybe when they do, they'll remember that we weren't just statistics. We were people, with names and voices and stories worth hearing. Tonight, the world is quiet in all the worst ways. But we don't go quiet. Not now. This is Alex Reed. The generator's failing again. I'll rest, crank, and return. Until then, you know what to do. Hold fast. Alex Reed here. 103.7. If this signal's still making it through the static, then we've bought ourselves a little more time. It's just past midnight. No stars out tonight. No moon either. The sky is just a low ceiling of charcoal, pressed down over a country that isn't sleeping, because it doesn't know if morning is coming. It's been nearly 26 hours since DEFCON 1 was declared. We still haven't seen a launch, not that we know of. No cities have vanished. No clouds shaped like mushrooms, but no one's celebrating. Because sometimes the scariest part of the storm is the moment right before it hits. And we're in it. The air is heavy with waiting. I got a message tonight from a ham operator outside Pittsburgh. He's old, said he built his first rig when Kennedy was president. His voice had the kind of calm that comes from living through too many close calls. He said, "Alex, I don't think the world ends in one big bang. I think it ends when people stop listening." He's still listening. So am I. And I hope you are too. There's been a new development out of Colorado. The backup feed from NORAD's relay hub just blinked out. No warning. No emergency signal. Just gone. That means one of two things. Either they've gone completely dark, intentionally, or something took them offline. No confirmation yet. But traffic around Cheyenne Mountain is non-existent. Satellite feeds, which are harder to come by the hour, show static over the region. Either there's a jamming field in place or something bigger is happening under the surface. Either way, it's one less set of eyes in the sky. And in a time like this, sight matters. I want to pause for a moment and talk about something real. Something small. You ever notice how, in moments like this, the smallest things feel the loudest? The sound of a spoon hitting a pot. The way a floorboard creaks when no one's supposed to be there. The buzz of a dying battery. I think our brains are trying to hold on, grabbing whatever scraps of normal it can find in a world where the sky has gone quiet and no one's really sure what time it is anymore. I remember the smell of coffee in the morning. Not long ago, that was the first thing I thought about when I woke up. Now it's silence. Now it's wondering how many hours we've got until someone pushes something they can't take back. Earlier tonight, I got a message from a man calling himself Martin. He didn't say where he was, just somewhere west of the Missouri. He said he was watching a town burn in the distance, not bombed, not attacked, just abandoned and left to rot, and the fires started on their own. He said he stood there for over an hour, watching the flames and trying to remember the name of the town. He couldn't. He said it felt like the town was being erased, not just burned, forgotten. He asked me to say this out loud so someone else would know it existed. Clark Junction, 2 gas stations, a diner with the best blueberry pancakes in the county, 1 stoplight, a church that leaned slightly to the left because of wind damage back in '93. Clark Junction. Now you know. It existed. And now it always will. These are the things we do now. Speak names into the dark so the world doesn't go out completely. Someone called from Los Angeles, said the city's quiet in a way it's never been. No sirens, no traffic, just helicopters circling in patterns that don't look like search operations. He said the lights are off in every direction, but one building, a tower near downtown, is fully lit, blinding bright. Too bright for just emergency power. He asked what that means. I don't know. But it doesn't feel like a good thing. To those of you near DC, there's new movement. Convoys, not government marked, heavily armed, no insignia. Rumors are spreading that they're evacuating something, or someone, from deep under the Capitol. Possibly a shadow cabinet. Possibly something more classified. A woman near Arlington said she saw a line of unmarked black SUVs with tinted windows drive into a tunnel and not come out. No one has seen them since. There's an unease now, growing like mold in the cracks of what used to be called order. The kind of unease that makes good people whisper in the dark and wonder if the people with the keys ever really had a plan, if they ever cared to begin with. But out here, beyond the reach of those bunkers and briefings, there are still people trying. A camp has formed near the Blue Ridge Mountains. Started with 7 people, Now they're 43. No weapons, no flags, just a patch of cleared land and a rope with cans hanging from it, an old-school alarm system. They take turns on watch, cook beans over fire, pass around a single working flashlight. They've started teaching the kids how to identify birds by sound, since there's no power to charge tablets anymore. They sent a message in tonight. Asked me to say this. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but if anyone hears this, there's room for you here. Bring what you can, leave behind what you must. But come. You're not too late. I don't know where exactly they are, but if you're near the Blue Ridge and you hear cans rattling in the wind, it might be them. Knock softly. Say you heard them on the radio. Say you want to help. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes, hope is just the sound of a stranger breathing on the other end of the static. This is Alex Reed. Signing off for now, the hand cranks losing tension. I'll be back. Stay ready. Stay close. Stay human. This is Alex Reed. 103.7 on the dial, if you're lucky enough to still have a dial, and luckier still to hear this. We're closing in on the 30-hour mark since the country dropped into DEFCON 1. It's strange. We used to think the world would end fast. Fire in the sky. A flash bright enough to make shadows permanent. But it's not like that. It's slow. It's like watching a ceiling collapse. One crack at a time. You don't run. You don't scream. You just listen. And tonight, I'm still here, still listening for you. New reports coming in from the Midwest, Kansas, Iowa, parts of Nebraska. Entire blocks going dark. Not just power. Radio silence. No cell signals. No ham. The kind of blackout that makes you feel like someone turned the whole world off and forgot to tell you. Some are calling it a communications freeze. Others say it's jamming, military-grade wideband suppression. I don't know. All I know is the silence is growing. And silence is contagious. One transmission managed to slip through from outside Topeka. A teacher and his wife. They're living in an old barn with their son. Said they'd been using CB radio to talk to another family 2 farms over. 3 days ago, the other side went quiet. Not suddenly, just slower each day. Messages shorter, then late, then gone. No storm, no signs of a fight, no reason. Just the kind of gone that never leaves a door open behind it. They still check the channel every night. They still wait. That's what we do now. Wait. Listen. Remember. I want to talk about that for a second. Memory. Memory is the only shelter that travels with us. Everything else. Power. Comfort. Safety. You can lose it in an hour. But memory? You carry it like a map burned into your bones. So when it gets too quiet, when the fire's low and the shadows get long, remember something. Anything. A birthday, a radio jingle, the smell of baking bread on a Sunday, the warmth of a bus window in winter. Call it back. Hold it like it's the last piece of the world that didn't burn. Because if we lose our memories, we lose the reason to survive. Got a note from someone outside Missoula, scrawled in pencil on lined paper, delivered by hand, passed along from camp to camp. It read, "We're still alive. We've got water, a crank radio, and a map. We don't have guns, but we've got each other. Tell the world we're here. Tell them we're still trying." So I'm telling you now, they're still trying, and so should you. In the last 4 hours, we've confirmed what we feared earlier. A satellite blackout over the southern hemisphere. Multiple birds, military, commercial, and geopositioning, have failed to respond to pings. That doesn't just affect comms. That affects navigation, drones, emergency mapping, missiles. It means something big is moving, and no one can see it. There's more. A former aerospace contractor reached out from Arizona, said she worked on guidance systems for long-range payloads. She wouldn't say which agency, wouldn't say which program. But she said this: if the sky's gone dark and nothing's flying, it doesn't mean they stopped. It means whatever's moving doesn't need our systems anymore. What does that mean? I don't know. And honestly, I don't want to guess. What I do know is this: people are still helping each other. A listener near Tulsa said her neighborhood started a food exchange. No currency, just items and kindness. One guy trades clean water for baby formula. Someone else offers batteries for dog food. They keep everything in a parking garage, sectioned off with traffic cones. They call it the trade lot. No violence, no looting. Just people remembering how to share. You don't hear that on the official broadcasts, what's left of them. But it matters, more than anything else right now. I got a broken-up call from someone driving north on Route 15. Said they passed a message scrawled across a highway sign. The sky is still clear in the hills. Follow the birds. They didn't understand it. Neither do I. But they said they saw birds, whole flocks, moving west, then vanishing into the tree line. No sound, no scatter, just gone. It's eerie, but maybe it's a sign. Maybe the animals know something we don't. Or maybe it's nothing. But in a time like this, even maybe can be hope. A man in western Kentucky is transmitting shortwave poetry. No joke. He said he used to teach literature, lost his job after the second wave of closures, been alone since his partner passed 6 months ago. So now, every night, he reads a poem into the void. Tonight's was one he wrote himself. The world grew quiet, but I stayed loud. My words, a thread through this fearful shroud. If no one hears, I'll speak again. Into the static, again, again. I heard you, friend, and so did others. So if you're out there, unsure what to do next, speak. Even if your voice shakes, even if you think no one's listening. Someone always is. Before I sign off this hour, let me give you something solid. Action steps. If you're near urban centers, move outward, not just to the suburbs, rural, forests, elevation, water, boil or filter. Watch for strange smells or sudden discoloration. We've had reports of contaminants in public reservoirs, possible sabotage, possible runoff. Doesn't matter. Don't trust it unfiltered. Power. If you've got fuel, ration it. Don't use generators at night unless you've masked all light and muffled the engine. Sound travels. Groups. Stay small. 5 to 10 max. Mobility matters now more than size. Communication. If you've got a hand crank or solar radio, scan the low bands every hour on the hour. We're working to keep regional loops active. If you're alone, keep talking anyway. And if you're scared, good. It means you still want to live. That's something the world can't take from you. This is Alex Reed. Still here, still watching the sky, still whispering back into the dark. I'll return in an hour, sooner if something changes. Until then, Hold fast. Stay ready. Keep your story alive. Alex Reed, still on 103.7. Still breathing. Still broadcasting. Still spinning this signal through the dark, hoping it lands somewhere, anywhere, where human hands can still feel its warmth. We're past the 32-hour mark since DEFCON 1 was activated. We're beyond the point of wondering whether this is real. It's real. It's here. The world didn't shatter in a single blow, but it's been breaking piece by piece, quietly, relentlessly. One voice, one light, one system at a time. And still, somehow, we remain. Reports just came in from outside Atlanta. The city's gone cold, power grids fully collapsed, police and emergency bands are silent. There's movement, military and otherwise, but no one's talking. Just motion. Quiet, efficient, watchful. A woman named Janine called in from the outskirts. She said the sky turned pink for a few seconds just after 3 a.m. No thunder, no wind, just color. And then all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking at once. Then they stopped. That was 2 hours ago. No one's heard anything since. From the West Coast, San Diego specifically, another whisper. This one from a teenager using an old walkie network his dad set up back when prepping was still a joke to most people. He said there's a ship sitting just off the coast, not a freighter, not a cruise liner, bigger than both, no lights, no communications, just there. And at night, it glows faint red underneath, like something's alive below the waterline. The local Coast Guard station hasn't answered for 12 hours. Some say it's a foreign carrier. Others say it's ours, but automated. A drone ship. No crew, just eyes and teeth. Whatever it is, it hasn't moved. But the kid said his dog won't go near the beach anymore. Just whimpers at the door and stares at the waves. Animals know before we do. They always have. I heard from a small town in Idaho, name not shared for safety. They've blocked off their roads. Not with barricades. With silence. They turned off every light, covered every window, stripped street signs and erased GPS coordinates from online maps. They don't want to be found. Not by anyone. And honestly, I don't blame them. There's something predatory in the air now. Something that doesn't care who it finds, only that it finds. But while fear is spreading like wildfire, so is something else. Resilience. There's a woman near Fargo. Her name is Danny. She converted a grain elevator into a vertical farm using scrap lights and reflective blankets. Says it smells like moss and diesel, but it's green. And it's growing. She's feeding 7 families with it. No power grid, no internet, just buckets of hope suspended from ropes and pulleys. She said, "The plants don't know what's happening out there. They just grow." There's a lesson in that. Don't stop growing just because the world forgot the sun. I got a shortwave relay message from a mountain ridge somewhere near the border of Montana and Canada. The voice was ragged, someone who'd hiked days to reach higher ground. She said the stars look brighter up there, and that if you hold still long enough, you can hear a kind of humming, not mechanical, not electrical, something older, like the earth itself is singing beneath the snow. I believe her, because sometimes, when it gets quiet enough down here, I swear I hear it too. A low tone, a warning, or maybe a song. I want to tell you about a boy named Liam, 11 years old, lives somewhere in the Appalachians. His parents used to be librarians. They've started teaching other kids how to read using burned pages and scavenged flashcards. No screens, No tech, just paper, dirt, and patience. Liam sent in a drawing, hand-delivered through someone passing by. It was of a radio tower, standing alone on a hill. All around it were little dots, people, with their hands raised. At the top of the tower, he wrote, "We're still here." He's right. We're still here. Not just surviving, communicating, remembering, teaching, beacons in the storm. Let's talk about the broadcasts. Shortwave frequencies are lighting up in new places. There's something happening out west, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, a network forming. Not military, not government, civilian run. They're calling it the Relay Net. 12 towers, solar powered, operated by ham operators, ex-radio engineers, truckers, and a few teenage geniuses who still know how to solder wires without setting the house on fire. They've started patching people through, one by one, voice to voice. If you hear the tag Delta Echo Romeo, you're on the right band. Say your name, your location, and your hope. That's all they ask. A name, a place, and one reason you're still holding on. Some of the reasons I've heard? A man in a wheelchair who wants to see another sunrise. A mother who promised her daughter she'd bake bread again. A teenager who never kissed anyone and doesn't want to die before he knows what it feels like. A grandfather who still carries the recipe for chili in his wallet, even though there's no meat left. They're not big dreams, but they're enough. They're everything. I want you to know that I see you, even if I can't see your face. Even if your voice is just a flicker on the spectrum, I see you, and I believe in you. So wherever you are tonight, in a basement, in a tent, under a truck, inside a shipping container lit by a battery-powered lantern, know this: you are not lost, you are not forgotten, and this awful waiting isn't forever. Nothing is. Tomorrow may bring light, or it may bring fire, but if it brings you still standing, still breathing, still ready to speak, then we win. One more hour, one more night, one more voice. This is Alex Reed. I'll check in again soon. If you're awake, talk to the sky. Someone out there is still listening. Hold fast. This is Alex Reed, 103.7, still holding. If you're hearing this, it means something. Your radio still works, your walls are still standing, your heart is still beating. That's not nothing. In this moment, it's everything. We're now more than 34 hours into DEFCON 1, 2 nights without guidance, 2 sunrises without certainty, and still the missiles haven't flown, not the big ones. But something's happening, something below the surface. It's not just the broadcasts going quiet or the cities going dark. It's people. People disappearing from places they were just seen in. Whole towns emptied without struggle, without a sound. A man outside Boise said the gas station he filled up at yesterday is empty today. Lights on, doors open, coffee still hot on the counter. But not a soul in sight. No blood, no damage, just absence. He said the birds are gone too. That's what scared him most. He left without taking the coffee. I don't blame him. When the world starts peeling itself apart, it's the little things that tell the truth. Some of you may have noticed the change in the air, not just the silence, the weight. It's subtle, a shift, like the planet itself is bracing for something. You can feel it in the bones, in the joints, in the way dogs whimper at corners and refuse to cross thresholds they used to ignore. I got a letter today, a real one, written on the back of a cereal box, delivered through 5 relay hands from someone who calls herself J. She didn't give a town or even a state, just a story. She said she's sheltering in a freight tunnel with a group of 6. Used to be 9. One left, didn't come back. One left the next day looking for the first. Still gone. They wait for sunrise every morning like it's a commandment. They boil snow. They ration crackers. They keep a notebook of every sound they hear. Time-stamped, described, ranked on a scale of how much it made their skin crawl. She ended the letter with this line: "Tell them the world is quieter than I expected, not peaceful. Just hollow, like something took the music and left the static." I read her words 3 times, each time slower. Each time they felt more true. We used to think noise meant danger, sirens, shouts, screams. But now it's the quiet that tells us we're close to the edge, that we've already tipped and we just haven't hit the bottom yet. There's news from the northern corridor. The cold is shifting. Temperatures are dropping fast, unnaturally fast, in places that shouldn't be freezing. South Dakota, Missouri, parts of Tennessee, overnight drops of 20-30 degrees. No systems in place, no explanation. Just sudden, raw cold. People are calling it the ghost frost. One man said he found frost creeping down his windows at dusk, then vanishing at midnight. No condensation, no snow, just a trail of crystals that disappeared the second he touched it. If you're in those zones, layer up. Even if the forecast says 50 degrees, even if your walls are insulated, keep a space heater near if you've got fuel. Otherwise, huddle close. Use body heat. Sleep in shifts. It's not just about staying warm. It's about not letting the dark in too deep. There are rumors, getting louder now, of something moving through the cities. Not soldiers, not drones, people, but not acting like people. Fast, coordinated, silent, no light, no visible weapons. They don't speak, they don't run, they just move. And when they pass, signals die, radios short, batteries drain, theories vary, new tech, biological manipulation, mass hallucination. But one thing is consistent across every report. They do not stop. If you see them, don't engage. Don't watch. Don't wait to see what happens next. Move. Quietly. Disappear before they notice you exist. That's the best advice I have tonight. Not courage. Not resistance. Disappearance. Become background noise, a shadow in the wallpaper, a forgotten corner of a ruined map. It might save your life. But in all this, there's still humanity. A woman named Carla sent in a voice message, one of the few still making it through. She's a midwife in New Mexico, helped deliver a baby by candlelight in the back of a hardware store 2 nights ago. No meds, no sterile tools, just boiled water, strong hands, and hope. The baby came out silent at first. Everyone held their breath. Then, one cry, small, fragile, but real. She said the whole room cried with her. That baby has no idea what kind of world it's been born into, but it cried. And that means it's alive. That means it's already stronger than most of us. She named her Marin, after the sea, because even in the desert, people remember water. You want to know what keeps me going? It's not faith in leadership. It's not faith in order. It's that cry. It's the man who plants potatoes under a tarp in the rain. It's the girl who tapes hand-drawn maps to trees for strangers she'll never meet. It's the kid who rewires a flashlight into a Morse code beacon and sends "I'm still here" every 10 minutes on the dot. You are the resistance. Not with guns, with memory, with light, with truth. This is Alex Reed. One more hour in the dark, and then we try again. Hold fast. Stay human. Tell your stories. Alex Reed on 103.7. We're closing in on hour 36. If you're still hearing this, it means we're still here. Maybe bruised, maybe tired, but alive. And in a world this quiet, being alive is louder than it used to be. Something happened in the early hours of this morning. Something I can't fully explain. I was mid-transmission, reading a message from a group in the high plains, when the lights flickered. Not just here, but across every signal I've been monitoring. The spectrum turned white. No static, no hum, just blankness. And then, a tone. Low, dull, exactly 15 seconds long. Then silence again. Then everything came back, except the clock. Every timekeeping device on the board reset itself to 0. Midnight. That's not normal. And it wasn't an EMP. The gear is too old to be affected by a basic pulse. And it wasn't localized. Reports are coming in from as far as Alaska and Argentina. Same time, same tone, same reset. It's like someone flipped the table. Like someone somewhere wanted the whole world to stop and start again at 0. A hard reboot. And now, the wind feels different. The light has a strange tint to it. Like everything's still here, but not quite where it was yesterday. I don't know what it means, but nothing's felt normal since. Outside Phoenix, someone's been tagging messages on highway overpasses in white paint. Not slogans, not warnings, just numbers. 5-digit sequences. Same format. Varying locations. They're calling them grid codes. Some believe they're coordinates. Others think it's a tracking system for evac convoys. But none of them repeat. And none of them go public. I traced one of them using an old topo map and a pencil. It pointed to an abandoned rest stop in the middle of nowhere. When someone went to check it out, all they found was a single light bulb swinging from a hook in the ceiling, glowing despite the lack of power, and a chair facing the corner, still warm. Draw your own conclusions. Someone from the outskirts of Anchorage reported something I've heard now 4 times in the last day. The sky whispered. Not thunder, not radio interference. A whisper. They said they were outside, feeding the fire, and heard something behind them. Close, but soft. A voice. Barely there. No words. Just breath shaped into syllables that didn't belong to any language they knew. They turned around. No one there. The fire went out. I know what you're thinking. People are fraying. Minds under pressure crack in odd ways. Sleep deprivation. Isolation. Suggestion. Maybe that's it. But if 5 people, hundreds of miles apart, describe the same thing, tone, rhythm, silence after, it might not be hallucination. It might be something else entirely. A listener in rural Ohio called in using a rig so old it still runs on tubes. He said the animals are acting wrong, not just scared, organized. A line of deer walked across his field in perfect formation. No panic, no deviation. And when they passed, The cows in the pasture stared in the same direction for an hour. He timed them. 62 minutes. Then they all turned east. At the same time, and walked away. He's lived there 37 years. He said he's never seen anything like it. I don't know how much more of this we're meant to endure. But I do know this. The collapse we feared isn't coming like we thought it would. It's not a single bomb or a broadcast or a blinding flash. It's thousands of little wrongs stacking up like bricks in a wall we didn't know we were building. It's what you feel when the wind moves in a direction the weather never predicted. It's what you see when your reflection doesn't blink at the same time you do. It's what you hear when a friend's voice plays on a loop hours after they stopped talking. There's a group broadcasting from a lighthouse on the coast of Maine. Old school tech, steel guts, lantern light. They call themselves the Candle Line. Every night at the same time, they transmit 3 things. Weather updates from the open sea. Reports of passing ships. One story about something beautiful they remember from before. Last night, it was about a wedding in a backyard, twinkle lights, a borrowed speaker, 2 people dancing in the grass after the DJ packed up. Just them. No crowd, no song. Just the beat of their feet in the dirt and the sound of laughter. They say they keep the stories alive so the world doesn't turn all the way to ash. I believe that's why I'm still speaking too. Because while everything around us bends and frays, we still have these threads. Voice to voice, memory to memory, light to light. If you're near the candleline signal, listen for 3 long pulses and a short one. That's them. Respond if you can. They'll hear you. And if they don't, I will. A voice came in from somewhere in the Rockies. It was weak, barely audible, but it carried something rare. Hope. She said they found a hot spring tucked behind a frozen ridge. Clean water. Warmth. Steam rising into the freezing air like ghosts trying to escape. They're using it to bathe, to cook, to breathe without shaking. She said the kids laugh when they sit in the water, like it's summer again, like nothing's wrong. She said, for 10 minutes a day, we remember what it felt like to live. That's enough. That's more than enough. So tonight, wherever you are, if your hands are cold, if your roof is cracked, if your hope feels thin as wire, remember, someone is laughing in warm water beneath a mountain no one's bombed. Someone is still remembering. And so should you. This is Alex Reed. I'll be back after I rest the gear. Stay sharp. Stay warm. Stay you. This is Alex Reed. It's hour 38. 38 hours since DEFCON 1. 38 hours since the old world blinked. Since the president vanished into a bunker and the rest of us were left topside, waiting to find out what counts as survival now. If you're listening, you're still in this. And if you're still in this, then there's still a story left to tell. I'm running low on power again. The crank handle's stripped smooth, and my backup battery isn't holding a charge like it used to. But I'll keep talking for as long as something inside this console keeps humming back at me. Because quiet doesn't mean peace. Not anymore. And someone out there needs to hear a human voice tonight. You ever feel like the world is holding its breath? Not in anticipation. Not in fear. In exhaustion. Like the whole planet is tired of being torn in half and just wants to rest. But it can't. Because too much is already in motion. Because the machines are too loud. Because we built too many triggers with no safeties. That's how tonight feels. The wind hasn't moved in hours. The clouds are hanging low and thick, but not moving. I lit a candle 20 minutes ago, and the flame hasn't flickered once. It just burns straight up, like gravity forgot what it was supposed to do. And it's not just here. I've gotten messages from as far as Argentina and northern Finland, all reporting the same stillness. No wind, no bird calls, no weather systems moving the way they should. One listener in Iceland said it best. It's like the world paused the game but didn't tell the players. And some of the players are starting to notice. In the last 8 hours, 3 different survivors in 3 different regions have reported the exact same thing. A single siren in the distance. Faint, mechanical. Not an air raid, not a tornado alarm. Just a slow rising tone, and then silence. No follow-up, no explanation. And when they went toward it, it vanished. Not like it shut off, like it was never there. That's happening more often now. The untraceable, the unprovable, but real. Whatever this is, it's not all war, not all politics. It's something bigger, older maybe, or newer than we can grasp. And it's watching. Earlier tonight, I got a message from someone who sounded like they were running while speaking. They were breathing hard, speaking fast, words tumbling over each other. They said they saw light moving through the trees, not flashlight beams, not flares. Something else. Columns of blue-white light drifting sideways across the forest, weaving through the trunks like they were alive. No noise, no smoke, just a low-frequency buzz in the chest that made them drop to their knees. They covered their eyes. When they opened them again, the light was gone. And so was their dog. No tracks, no blood, just gone. They said it wasn't fear that made them run. It was the feeling that whatever was watching had seen everything inside them. Like it didn't just look at them, it read them. That's not war tech. That's something else. I can't explain it. I'm not even sure I believe it. But I've heard it too many times to ignore. Back in Tennessee, there's a place called Camp Hollow Ridge. Used to be a summer camp for kids. Canoes, cabins, lake water that smelled like old leaves and sunscreen. Now it's home to 27 survivors. They've made it work. Rewired the old kitchen into a command center. Built solar panels from garden lights and copper pipe. Used the lake for water, fish when they can, trap when they can't. They have a rule. No one goes alone. Not even to the bathroom. And every night before they sleep, someone reads a story from the camp's lost and found. A book someone left behind. Tonight, it was The Velveteen Rabbit. The part about becoming real. I can't stop thinking about that. Maybe that's what's happening now. Maybe the world is being made real again. Stripped down. Burned back to the basics. No illusion. Just raw, uncomfortable truth. I don't know. But I know this. They're still reading stories. By candlelight. In a camp once meant for summer joy. And the kids still laugh. Software tired, but real. I got a shortwave pulse from a town that doesn't exist on most maps anymore. The man who sent it called it New Grace. Said it's just 5 houses, 2 wells, and a greenhouse made of windshield glass. They take in wanderers. No weapons allowed inside. They trade labor for food, stories for shelter. He said they don't ask who you were, only who you're trying to be now. There's something holy in that, something worth remembering. We've talked a lot about the dark, the silence, the fear. But don't forget the other side. Don't forget the people still cooking bread on hot stones. Don't forget the women knitting blankets from old bed sheets. The kids painting murals on the walls of their shelters using charcoal and berry juice. The man who built a wind chime out of broken keys and hung it over a crumbled doorway, just to remind himself what music sounded like. This isn't just about surviving the blast. It's about surviving the waiting, the unraveling, and still waking up tomorrow with your soul intact. If you're alone tonight, know this: you are not forgotten. Someone, somewhere, is holding your name in their mind without even knowing they're doing it. You're part of the story. You always were. And as long as this mic has breath and this signal has teeth, I'll keep speaking that truth. This is Alex Reed. I'll rest now, but I'll return soon. Hold fast and remember who you are. Alex Reed. 103.7 on the dial, though I know for most of you, the numbers don't matter anymore. Radios don't care about frequencies when you're just searching for a human voice, any voice. So here I am. We're now pushing past the 40-hour mark since DEFCON 1 was declared. 40 hours since the bunker doors sealed, since the screens went black, since the world exhaled and forgot how to breathe back in. No missiles yet, no bombs, no official surrender. But that doesn't mean the war hasn't started, because the fight isn't in the sky. It's in the waiting, the dread, the empty seats at tables that used to be full, the soft click of a dead phone line when you try one last number you swore you'd never forget. I've been thinking about something a caller said earlier. She asked, "If nothing happens, does that mean we imagined it? Or that we survived it?" I didn't have an answer then. I still don't. But I think we're all somewhere between those two possibilities, living in the middle space between what could have killed us and what might still. And in that space, people are still trying to build something out of the ash. There's a bridge outside of Tulsa, Highway 51. You wouldn't know it by name. It's just another rusted-over skeleton of metal and cement. But right now, it's lit. Christmas lights strung across the guardrails, a generator humming beneath the western support column. No one's living under it, not anymore. They say it's a signpost, a message. Still here. They only run the lights for 2 hours a night, long enough for anyone passing through to see that someone cared enough to say so. A young man I spoke with, calls himself Noah, helped put them up. He said he didn't know what good it would do, that maybe it was a waste of power. But then he said this: "Even if nobody sees it, I'll know the dark didn't win that day." We all need our own version of that bridge. Some build it with words, some with song, some with old wires and stubborn hope. Just build yours, and leave the lights on, even if it's only for a little while. Reports keep trickling in from the northern plains. Strange ground quakes, shallow, rhythmic, not natural. 1 every 2 hours, give or take. No epicenter. Just a thrum that runs up through the soles of your feet and settles behind your eyes. People are saying it feels like breathing. Not human, not animal. Something bigger. I've felt it here too. The station sits on bedrock, and even that isn't immune. Sometimes the records skip, even the ones that aren't playing. Sometimes the dust on the shelves shifts, even with the windows shut. Something's moving beneath us, whether it's machines, missiles, or something older. We don't know yet. But don't ignore the small movements. They're how big things arrive. I've also started hearing from more people in the Ridge Loop. That's what we're calling the arc of communities from North Georgia, through the Carolinas and into Virginia. Used to be coal country, Now it's radio country. They've begun coordinating on relay hours, taking turns transmitting, pooling batteries, sharing survivor counts, weather updates, food statuses. It's slow, but it's something. One of their call signs is just 3 words: no one alone. Let that sit for a second. Not "we have food," not "weapons ready." Just no one alone. Sometimes that's more powerful than any siren. I heard from a teenager tonight, Maya, from somewhere near Little Rock. She said her parents haven't come home. She doesn't know if they're alive or if they left to keep her safe. She found a notebook her mom used to write in. It's filled with stories her mother made up just for her. And now, every night, Maya reads one of those stories into a cassette recorder. She doesn't know if the batteries will last, but she said this: "If I go quiet, I want the last thing I ever say to be something my mom made up, because that means she's still here too." That wrecked me. And it reminded me why I haven't stopped talking. Because if this is all we have left, words on the wind, then let them mean something. Let them carry names and memories and the truth of who we are before the fire came. I'll end this hour with a message sent from a group near Lake Superior. They call themselves The Thread. No leaders, no flags, just people who refuse to fray. They sent out a list, not demands, not rules, just reminders. I'll read a few now, in case you need them. If someone knocks and says they're alone, believe them, then feed them. If a fire goes out, light it again, even if you're cold. Especially if you're cold. Don't throw away books, even the bad ones. They hold warmth. Leave notes on doors, on trees, on dashboards. You never know who's looking. And if you have nothing else to offer, tell a story. Because stories are what's left when the power's gone and the sky has forgotten how to be blue. Stories are the last light. And right now, we still have light. This is Alex Reed. One more hour down. I'll be back soon. Until then, hold fast. Alex Reed, 103.7, 41 hours in. I don't know what the world looks like where you are right now. Maybe your roof is intact. Maybe you're huddled in the back of a truck that hasn't moved in 2 days. Maybe you're curled up next to a fire or a candle or the last glowing bar on a dying phone. Wherever you are, you're not alone. It's been nearly 2 days since the DEFCON alert hit. We've stopped asking what triggered it. That doesn't matter anymore. Now the question is, what's next? Because something's coming. Not a missile, not a siren. Something else. I've been getting more messages from the interior, from people who say they've started seeing things, shadows that don't belong. Not movement, not hallucinations. Just outlines. One man outside of St. Louis said he watched a figure standing in the middle of an abandoned football field for 6 hours. Didn't move, didn't react, just stood there until night fell. Then it was gone. No tracks, no sound, nothing on thermal. He wasn't the only one. We're calling them the still ones now. No one's approached. No one's tried. That's probably for the best. If you see one, keep your distance. Change your direction. Forget it's there. I know how that sounds. I know it feels like we're all just hearing ghosts now. But too many reports from too many places tell me this isn't just nerves. Something out there is learning how to watch us. Something out there is waiting. On a different note, we've got news from the Northern Safe Corridor. A small outpost near Thunder Bay just sent out a successful broadcast ping. They're alive, stable, low on medicine, but strong on bodies. They've repurposed a logging road into a landing strip. Not for planes, for gliders. Silent flight, no fuel, no noise. They're using them to ferry supplies and keep eyes on surrounding routes. If you're within 100 miles of that region, listen for the triple pulse frequency, 73.3 shortwave. It's faint, but it's real, and they're looking for more hands. They call themselves the Pines, and they ended their last message with this: "We are not prey." Good. Hold that. Own it. Because whatever's out there, whatever's waking up, it needs to know that too. Let me tell you what I've seen here tonight. The candle by the window hasn't gone out once, not through the drafts, not through the shifting wood. It stands steady, like it's daring the dark to try harder. And outside the window, a fox, still, calm, watching me. I've lived near these woods for 20 years. I've never seen a fox sit still this long. It's not afraid. It's not curious. It's waiting. And that's what I'm trying to understand. Are we the ones being watched, or are we the only ones still watching? There's a boy in Louisiana, maybe 11, built a reflector dish from an old umbrella and some tinfoil. He calls it the ear. He picks up weak signals on a hacked radio he keeps running with a solar lantern stripped down to its cells. Last night, he caught a voice repeating one word: begin. He doesn't know where it came from. None of us do. It wasn't a language he recognized, just the sound, over and over. Begin. He asked me, what does it mean to begin when everything's already ending? That's a hell of a question for someone who hasn't even hit high school. But I think I know the answer. We begin anyway, not because the world says so, not because we're ready. We begin because not beginning means it's already over. Somewhere in the Cascades, there's a woman carving names into stones, not tombstones, not monuments, just rocks. Small, flat river stones, one name per stone. No dates, no details, just memory. She leaves them on paths, fence posts, outside shelter doors. If you find one, she says, take it with you. Speak the name once, then place it somewhere else. She calls it the long remembrance, a way to carry the lost without building graves. I think we'll need that soon, because when the last map fades, when the last grid dies, all that'll be left is the names we chose to carry. So if you've lost someone, speak their name. Say it out loud, right now, even if it feels silly, even if the only one listening is a radio host you'll never meet. Say it and let it echo. Let it matter. Because if we don't remember them, who will? And if we don't remember us, what are we fighting for? In South Dakota, there's a rest stop that's turned into a sanctuary. 3 truckers, 2 nurses, and a family of 6. No fences, just vigilance. They use semi-trailers as walls, solar panels to power a floodlight, and old CB radios to keep contact with anyone passing by. Their rule? Anyone can stay one night. Enough time to rest, to warm up, to cry if you need to. Then move on. They don't ask for names, but they offer food, blankets, words. They call it the pause. I think we need more places like that. Not safe zones. not military outposts, just pauses, breathing spaces in the unraveling. You don't need walls for that. You just need to care. Before I close this hour, I want to read something sent in by a woman named Teresa. She's in Oregon, lives alone in a cabin with 3 dogs and a wood stove that never quite works right. She wrote, "I spent the first day crying, the second day listening, and today I spoke. I didn't say much, just hello. Just, I'm here. But the forest heard me, and that was enough. It is enough. This is Alex Reed, still here, still speaking, still lighting candles in the dark. I'll be back after a short break to crank this old battery back to life. Until then, say your name, say your story. Say something that reminds you who you are. Hold fast." Alex Reed, 103.7 FM. We've crossed the 43-hour mark, and the world still holds. Just barely. I want to start tonight's broadcast with a voice from the eastern edge of what's left of the grid, a man named Ellis, calling from the roof of an old high school somewhere near Raleigh. He's been alone for 5 days. He's rigged a solar panel to a ham set and climbs to the roof every hour, on the hour. This morning, he caught my voice, and tonight, I caught his. He said, "I thought maybe the world was over, but then I heard a man reading names on the wind. That meant something hadn't quit yet. That meant I didn't have to either." So if you're hearing this, Ellis, you're not alone anymore. No one who hears this voice ever really is. Let me catch you up. The relay net out west is expanding. 4 new towers came online in the last 12 hours. 2 in Colorado, 1 outside Albuquerque, and 1 deep in the desert. Unknown location, just a call sign. Cicada 9. Whoever's running it doesn't talk much, but the signal's strong, steady. They broadcast a tone every 15 minutes, just 3 rising notes. Some say it's a beacon. Others think it's counting down, but it's consistent. And in times like these, that's more valuable than gold. If you're tuning your dials tonight, listen for the 3-tone signal. If you hear it, say something. Anything. Let them know you're out there. That's all they want. Proof of life. Meanwhile, the cities continue to collapse quietly. Not with fire, not with screams, but with absence. Cleveland, Charlotte, Sacramento. No new transmissions, no visible movement on the perimeter scans, no power draw. Just dead grids and hollow echoes. You don't need bombs to break a city. You just stop feeding it. People flee. Silence moves in. And then it's gone. I know that's hard to hear. But here's the thing. Out beyond the ruins, pockets are holding. There's a mountaintop near Asheville where 3 families have set up wind turbines using bicycle rims and salvaged copper. They've got enough juice to power LED strips and a shortwave antenna. They send out bedtime stories for children every night at 7 p.m. Eastern. No politics, no warnings, just stories. A few nights ago, they read The Giving Tree. One of the kids cried when it ended. Not because it was sad, but because it reminded her of something normal. Let me say that again, for anyone who needs to hear it. Normal still exists. Not everywhere, not in the old way, but in flickers, in voices reading stories, in lanterns left burning by roadsides, in people who still wave when you pass, even if their hands are empty, in warmth. We received an emergency report from near Helena, Montana. A convoy, 6 vehicles, was stopped by a landslide. Natural or triggered, no one knows. They were stranded for 16 hours. No one came until someone did. A farmer on a snowmobile, dragging 2 sleds filled with medical kits, canned food, and firewood. He didn't give a name, just handed off the supplies and said, "Next group's 2 hours behind you." Then he turned and rode into the snow. That's the world we live in now. One stranger at a time, one act at a time. There are whispers, nothing confirmed yet, of something building along the old Appalachian Trail, somewhere near the Virginia-West Virginia line, a stretch of path being cleared, literature patrolled by volunteers. No uniforms, no flags, just people who want a corridor, a way for the walking to find others. They say if you see a tree marked with white chalk and a string of ribbon, follow it. It means someone passed before you, and they wanted you to live too. Follow the ribbon. Lights fading faster tonight, not just out the window, in the signal. There's something thick in the air, some pressure. You can feel it in your ears, in your teeth. A kind of tension that doesn't come from weather. Feels like a low hum. Deep down in the bones of the station, I've shut off everything non-essential, running on battery alone. If I go out for a while, don't panic. I'll be back. I always come back, until the signal's dead and my voice breaks for the last time. I'll come back. You deserve that. Let me read something now. A letter. Found taped to a generator in an abandoned clinic in Wisconsin. We didn't make it, but if you find this, the generator still works. The insulin is inside, fridge on the left. We stocked it before the last run. Take what you need. Leave what you can. Ben and Tara. They didn't know who would come next, but they prepared for them anyway. That's not just kindness, that's legacy. Build your legacy, survivors, not with monuments, with mercy. And before I sign off for this hour, a personal note. I've been thinking about my father. He was a lineman, fixed downed power lines after storms. Used to say electricity was like a song we forgot how to sing. He taught me to listen to the hum in the wires. Said if you stood still enough, long enough, you could hear whether the world was healing or hurting. I don't hear the hum anymore, but I still remember the song. And I'll keep playing it back, in case someone forgot the words. This is Alex Reed, still holding, still here. You hold too, hold fast. Alex Reed. This is 103.7, and this is hour 45. If you're still tuning in, if the static gave way to this voice, then you're alive. That means the world hasn't ended. Not entirely, not yet. We're in what some callers have started calling the long pause. No all clear, no detonation, no surrender, just this long, fraying silence. And maybe that's what this is now, a test of endurance, not just survival. Who can hold their breath the longest? Who can live inside the stillness without losing what makes them human? I've started pacing the station between breaks. It's a habit, not a strategy. 10 steps to the door, 12 back to the desk. Floor creaks the same every time. There's comfort in repetition, in knowing some things haven't shifted beneath your feet. Outside, the wind has picked up again, sharp, dry, directionless, like it's circling for something, but can't quite remember what. Maybe it's doing what we are, waiting for a signal. You should know. I heard from someone in what used to be downtown Salt Lake. She said the ground trembled in the middle of the night, Not a quake, but a pulse. Everything metal rang, just once. Not loud, but clean. Pure. She said it made her teeth hurt. And when she looked outside, every screen, phones, tablets, old laptops, lit up. No power, no internet, just a white screen, then black again. Just long enough to be seen. She said she wasn't scared when it happened. She was scared when it stopped. There's a camp out near the Ozarks, about 25 people, all sleeping in the shell of an old church. No windows left, but the roof mostly holds. They've started ringing the bell every morning. Not because they expect someone to hear it, but because it reminds them they're still here. I asked one of them, "Why a bell?" She said, "Because it's the only sound we have that doesn't apologize." I understood that more than I could explain. Some people keep journals. Others record voice logs. Others build things, shelters, traps, fires. But some people ring bells because they want the sky to remember we're not gone yet. You should also know, we've confirmed that the Haven coordinates are still transmitting. Same signal, same tone. They haven't answered questions in over a day, but the signal is there, clean, on a loop. Either someone is still alive, or someone made sure their hope was automated before they left. If you're within range, head north. Bring extra fuel, bring others. Travel quiet, travel light, travel aware. People traveling alone are disappearing faster than anyone wants to admit. No blood, no signs of struggle, just gone. Someone said it best earlier. The night used to be dark. Now it feels hollow. There's a difference. Darkness holds things. Hollows swallow them. A listener called from a boat tonight. Didn't give his name. Said he hadn't set foot on land in 3 weeks. Just him, a diesel motor, and enough canned beans to float the hull. He said the ocean doesn't feel right. Too still, too warm. Fish aren't moving like they should. Currents drift against the charts. He swears he passed a cargo ship drifting without lights. Every container open, nothing inside. No crew. No sound. He turned and left. Didn't check for survivors. Didn't want to know. And who could blame him? Curiosity used to be a strength. Now it's a risk. Speaking of risk, I've been debating whether to share this, but I've always promised honesty. There's something happening in the high desert. I don't know what to call it. People are hearing music. Not through radios, not through speakers, through walls. Long, low notes, like cellos played underwater. Or power lines that hum just enough to make you weep without knowing why. They say the sound only comes when you're alone, never in pairs, never in groups. One woman said it made her sit down in the dirt and cry for 20 minutes. She didn't know the song, didn't understand the lyrics, but it felt like a goodbye. She said the melody followed her for 3 days. Then it stopped. And now her voice shakes when she tries to sleep. I don't know what it means. I only know she's not the only one. Maybe the world is singing its own requiem, or maybe something older is waking up, something that doesn't use words. But let's not forget the other side. A small town north of Des Moines lit their street lamps tonight. Solar charged, battery backed, rigged to flip on with a single crank. They lit them not because they had to, but because they wanted to. They said, light should not be a memory. So if you're in that town and you're listening now, Thank you. You reminded us that not all fires are warnings. Some are invitations, some are answers. Before I sign off, I want to leave you with something I read today. A passage carved into a park bench in what used to be San Antonio. A survivor passed it on to me, scrawled on a crumpled napkin. If the stars go out, we'll hang mirrors in the trees. And when we forget the words, we'll hum what's left of the tune. And when the fires come, we'll tell the stories anyway. That's what I'm doing here, telling the stories anyway. Even if the stars are dimmer now, even if the silence presses harder every night, even if I'm just humming into static, I'll keep humming. This is Alex Reed, still standing, still transmitting, still believing the tune matters. Stay awake, stay alive, hold fast. Alex Reed. It's hour 47, 47 hours since the emergency codes started pouring in. 47 hours since the last known transmission from the Capitol. 47 hours since we dropped to DEFCON 1 and the world began holding its breath. Still no missiles. Still no words from the bunker. But things are changing, and not all of them are visible. Let me begin tonight with a signal, not mine, one I picked up at 3:17 a.m. Barely a whisper on the band, buried beneath static. No voice, no call letters, just piano music. Old, grainy, slowed slightly, like the reel was stretched. It played for exactly 5 minutes and 31 seconds. Then silence. I traced the origin as best I could. Somewhere near the old rail junction east of Denver. Nothing registered on the main bands. No known relay stations. Just a melody in the dark. And I swear, for the first time in days, the air in here felt lighter. The dust settled. The window fogged. Music still lives. And if music lives, so do we. There's a woman out west. She didn't say her name. Just said she was the one with the chickens. She's been recording updates on her flock like dispatches from the front line. Every morning she reads off the names she gave them. Rosie, Bandit, Carl. She says when she feeds them, she pretends it's still spring. Not because she's in denial, but because the world outside the coop isn't allowed in there. She said something I won't forget. If you can make a chicken feel safe, you're still doing okay. I believe her. If you're out there tonight wondering what good you are to a world this broken, ask yourself one thing. Did you keep someone warm? Did you speak kindly? Did you offer half a can when you only had one? Then you're doing better than most leaders ever did. You're holding the line. There's news from the old steel corridor, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Youngstown. A network is forming. Informal, quiet, built on whispers passed between travelers and anchored by a church basement with a still-running battery bank. They don't call themselves a resistance. They call themselves the Menders. Their only rule? Leave each place better than you found it, even if that just means folding the blanket. Even if it just means writing a note for the next person who finds the shelter. There's something holy in that. A different kind of defense. Not with guns, with grace. I got a voice relay today from a man riding a horse across Texas. His engine died 2 weeks ago, and the roads were too blocked to continue. So he walked until he found a ranch, saddled up, kept moving. He's carrying messages. Handwritten ones, sealed in tin cans, passed between homesteads. He said, if the wires don't work, the legs still do. He's not fast, but he's steady. And right now, steady matters more than fast. We used to think speed was the future, but maybe patience is what saves us. That same rider said he passed a tree on the side of the road, covered in scraps of fabric, each one marked with a symbol, a name, or a date. It was a memorial. But it didn't feel like grief. He said it felt like roots, like people were anchoring themselves in place, saying, "We were here. We mattered." You do. Wherever you're listening from tonight, tent, tunnel, rooftop, basement, you matter. And I hear you, even when I don't. Even when the frequency skips and the wires buzz and the signal drops beneath the static, I still hear you. Your silence is still a presence. There's been another development. More reports from the Great Lakes region, faint lights beneath the water, not boats, not sonar. They're being seen from cliffsides, from shoreline lookouts, pale green, shifting, always just below the surface. And they're moving in formation. I don't know what they are, but I do know this. We've forgotten how much of this planet we don't control. We built satellites and bunkers and warning systems, but we never understood the deep. Maybe we're starting to. There's a boy in Western New York, maybe 12, been keeping track of star patterns each night. Says the sky is shifting faster than it used to. He tracks them with colored pencils on lined paper. He said, "The stars are trying to tell us something, but they're whispering." I believe him. We used to look up for answers. Now we just look for proof that we're not alone. Well, you're not. I got a message scratched onto the back of a torn playing card. Queen of Hearts. Hand-delivered through 5 different people. It simply said, "If you're reading this, I'm okay. I made it past the river. The fire didn't catch. I still have the ring. I still remember what you told me about the stars. I haven't forgotten. Okay, that's all. And it was enough to undo me. So, here's my version, for anyone who needs it. If you're hearing this, I'm okay. The tower still stands. The gear still runs. I still remember what the sky looked like when it was blue. And I won't let go of that memory. Not ever. I'll be back soon. Rest while you can. Light a candle. Write a name on something that will last. Because the world's still turning. And so are we. This is Alex Reed. Hold fast. Alex Reed, 103.7 FM, hour 51. We're past the halfway point of the 3rd full day since DEFCON 1. Still no official broadcast, no speech from the mountain, no word from the bunker. The silence is becoming a kind of answer in itself. Whatever those inside are planning, it doesn't include us. But that's all right, because we're planning without them. And tonight, something strange is happening. Something I never thought I'd hear again. Laughter. Not recorded, not remembered. Real, present tense laughter, crackling through the relay lines from places that shouldn't have power, from voices that shouldn't still have the strength to smile. It's small, but it's spreading. There's a child in Montana who's been telling knock-knock jokes to passing travelers. His mother calls them toll jokes. If you want water or warmth, you've got to laugh first. He told one over the band tonight. Knock, knock. Who's there? Nana. Nana who? Nana, your business. It's terrible, but I laughed anyway. And that matters, because laughter isn't weakness. It's defiance. It means we haven't given the world full permission to fall apart. So wherever you are, tell a joke, even if no one's around to hear it. Say something stupid, something human, because we still are. Human, I mean, even if the governments are gone, even if the machines forgot our names. We still remember how to laugh. Let me shift gears for a second. There's a man walking across what used to be Oklahoma. He's got a cart strapped to his waist and a dog named Pluto riding in the basket. He calls out on shortwave every night around midnight. Same words. No map, no mission, just motion. He says it reminds him of being alive. I've started listening for him. Sometimes that's all you need. A point of contact, a voice in the static, even if they're far away, even if they're not talking to you. There's a group moving up the Pacific coast, a chain of runners, each responsible for carrying updates from town to town. They don't use radios, don't trust tech. They rely on ink, memory, and speed. They call themselves the Signal Corps. Old name, new purpose. They travel in pairs. One runs, the other watches. Always watching. If you're near the Oregon coast and see two figures moving fast and quiet through a field, don't call out. Don't follow. Just leave a message behind. A drawing, a symbol, a mark in the dirt. They'll see it, and they'll carry it forward. I think about that sometimes, how far a message can travel if we just keep handing it off. One whisper at a time. One soul to the next. I got a report from a place I thought was gone. Baton Rouge. Turns out it isn't. Not completely. A shelter under the interstate overpass has been reworked into a growing outpost. They use scaffolding for defense and fuel truck tanks to store water. They've got 15 people, a working stove, and something else. A printer. Solar-powered. Still connected to an old network drive someone salvaged. They're printing stories, on paper, true ones. Fictional ones. Doesn't matter. They're making books. They hand them to people who pass through. Some stay, some go. But they take those words with them. And somewhere down the road, maybe they'll read them by lantern light to someone who hasn't heard a voice in days. That's power. More than any bomb, more than any drone. The written word in shaking hands. A woman from the ruins of Seattle left a note in a collapsed parking garage. It was taped to the back of a fire escape door, written in lipstick on an old piece of cardboard. It said, "I'm not dead. I just don't want to be seen right now. If you find this, take a deep breath. Inhale once for me." I did. And maybe you should too. Breathe for those who can't. For those who ran too far. For those who couldn't. Now, a word of caution. There have been more sightings of the still ones. The figures that stand without movement. That stare without blinking. They're being seen further inland now. Nebraska, Iowa, even southern Ontario. Always alone. Always still. Some say they're watching. Others say they're waiting. But one survivor near Lincoln said she tried to speak to one, just once. No response. But when she turned away, her radio started broadcasting her own voice back to her. Not a recording, a mirror. She asked it to stop. It did. And when she looked again, it was gone. So be careful. Some things in this world no longer play by the rules. And some of them may have learned how to mimic us better than we ever expected. But we still have one thing left they don't. We still know how to hope. We still know how to try. So I'll end this hour with something that came in from the Dakota stretch, a scrap of metal carved by hand, passed between 3 different groups until it landed here. It says, "Hope is heavier than fear. That's why we carry it together. So I'll carry a little for you tonight. You carry a little for someone else tomorrow. and maybe we all make it to morning. This is Alex Reed, still sending, still singing into the dark. Be safe, be loud when it matters, be quiet when it counts, and always hold fast. Alex Reed, 103.7 FM, hour 53. 3 days and then some. That's how long it's been since DEFCON 1 became more than just a line in a handbook, since voices from Washington stopped, since power grids started blinking out not in bursts, but in patterns, since bunkers locked shut, and people above ground started looking at each other like maybe we were all that was left. And now, we're still here. I want to start tonight by reading a signal capture from a shortwave relay station in Alberta. It came in just before sunrise. A woman's voice. Calm, unrushed, older. This morning I made tea. The real kind. Leaves I kept in a jar labeled for emergencies. This felt like one. I sat by the stove and watched the steam rise. Nothing tried to kill me. That's enough to call it a good day. I played that recording 3 times before I realized what I was feeling. Peace. Not because things are better, but because someone, somewhere, remembered how to be still without giving up. And I think we all need to relearn that. Here's what we know right now. The East Coast is unstable. Pockets of survivors are still moving through the Appalachian corridor, guided by hand-painted trail markers and old fire roads. Some have set up temporary outposts inside ranger stations. If you're close, look for the triple red triangle. It means shelter. One group calls themselves the Ember Line. Their motto is simple. We keep what glows. Food, stories, memories. The things that still warm us, that still hum. Out west, the air is growing stranger. Not colder, not warmer, denser. People report that sounds don't travel the way they used to. A scream doesn't carry past a ridge. A whisper echoes longer than it should. Something about the sky feels closer, like the clouds are listening. There was a report out of Nevada. A man walking alone through an old mining town said he saw what looked like a person standing on top of a water tower. Perfect posture, no movement. He raised his hand. The figure raised theirs. He waved. It waved. Then it stepped off the tower. No fall, no sound, just gone. He didn't go into town after that, and neither should you. We don't know what those things are yet, but they're watching the places we used to live, and they're learning fast. Let's talk about the underground network. Yes, it exists, and yes, it's growing. Started with a few couriers running messages between stations. Now it's a full web spanning from Saskatchewan to Mississippi. People on foot, bikes, horses. Some even rebuilt electric scooters using car batteries. They call themselves the chain. They move under the assumption that every message matters, even the small ones. Even, we're alive. Especially, we're alive. I got one of their packets yesterday. Inside, a folded map with a handwritten update on road conditions. A photo of someone's dog, name written on the back. Milo, still kicking. A note that said, Station 7 burned, but we got the people out, holding at Mill Creek. No demands, no drama, just truth. And that's all we need to keep going. Truth and each other. In the Southwest, something else is happening. People are gathering, not in fear, in purpose. A place called The Ladder has emerged somewhere in New Mexico. No one knows the exact coordinates, only that you follow the hummingbird sigils carved into fence posts and arroyos. When you reach a red door nailed to a tree, you wait. Someone will find you. They say inside, it's quiet, safe. There's music and bread and a rule. No talk of before, only talk of what's next. I don't know who started it, but I believe in them. Because we need places like that now. Places where the past doesn't get to be the prison, where the future still gets to write itself. You want more good news? I have it. There's a man in Kansas who found a way to fix old transistor radios using spare car parts and glass from broken solar yard lights. He's teaching others. He doesn't charge. He just asks for stories. If you bring him a tale, he'll bring you a voice, a fair trade. That's what this is all about now. Voice for voice, memory for warmth, signal for signal. And here at this station, I'll keep sending them out, one at a time, until the airwaves belong to the dark or my hands give out. But we're not there yet. I want to end this hour with something simple. A voice message from a little girl near Boise. She whispered it into a radio powered by a hand crank her brother built from a mountain bike. It's just 8 words. If you're sad, go look at the moon. She's right. Go outside. Find it. Even if it's a sliver. Even if the clouds blur it. Because it's still there. So are we. And as long as there are voices on the wind, as long as laughter slips through the cracks, as long as people remember each other's names, we haven't lost. Not yet. This is Alex Reed. I'll be back soon. But for now, go look at the moon and hold fast. Alex Reed, 103.7 FM, hour 53. 3 days and then some. That's how long it's been since DEFCON 1 became more than just a line in a handbook. Since voices from Washington stopped. Since power grids started blinking out not in bursts, but in patterns. Since bunkers locked shut and people above ground started looking at each other like maybe we were all that was left. And now, we're still here. I want to start tonight by reading a signal capture from a shortwave relay station in Alberta. It came in just before sunrise. A woman's voice. Calm, unrushed, older. This morning, I made tea. The real kind. Leaves I kept in a jar labeled for emergencies. This felt like one. I sat by the stove and watched the steam rise. Nothing tried to kill me. That's enough to call it a good day. I played that recording 3 times before I realized what I was feeling. Peace. Not because things are better, but because someone somewhere remembered how to be still without giving up. And I think we all need to relearn that. Here's what we know right now. The East Coast is unstable. Pockets of survivors are still moving through the Appalachian corridor, guided by hand-painted trail markers and old fire roads. Some have set up temporary outposts inside ranger stations. If you're close, look for the triple red triangle. It means shelter. One group calls themselves the Ember Line. Their motto is simple: we keep what glows. Food, stories, memories, the things that still warm us, that still hum. Out west, the air is growing stranger. Not colder, not warmer, denser. People report that sounds don't travel the way they used to. A scream doesn't carry past a ridge. A whisper echoes longer than it should. Something about the sky feels closer, like the clouds are listening. There was a report out of Nevada. A man walking alone through an old mining town said he saw what looked like a person standing on top of a water tower. Perfect posture. No movement. He raised his hand. The figure raised theirs. He waved. It waved. Then it stepped off the tower. No fall. No sound. Just gone. He didn't go into town after that. And neither should you. We don't know what those things are yet. But they're watching the places we used to live, and they're learning fast. Let's talk about the underground network. Yes, it exists, and yes, it's growing. Started with a few couriers running messages between stations. Now it's a full web, spanning from Saskatchewan to Mississippi. People on foot, bikes, horses. Some even rebuilt electric scooters using car batteries. They call themselves the chain. They move under the assumption that every message matters, even the small ones, even we're alive. Especially we're alive. I got one of their packets yesterday. Inside, a folded map with a handwritten update on road conditions. A photo of someone's dog, name written on the back, Milo still kicking. A note that said, Station 7 burned, but we got the people out, holding at Mill Creek. No demands, no drama, just truth. And that's all we need to keep going. Truth, and each other. In the Southwest, something else is happening. People are gathering, not in fear, in purpose. A place called The Ladder has emerged somewhere in New Mexico. No one knows the exact coordinates, only that you follow the hummingbird sigils carved into fence posts and arroyos. When you reach a red door nailed to a tree, you wait. Someone will find you. They say inside, it's quiet, safe. There's music, and bread, and a rule. No talk of before, only talk of what's next. I don't know who started it, but I believe in them, because we need places like that now. Places where the past doesn't get to be the prison, where the future still gets to write itself. You want more good news? I have it. There's a man in Kansas who found a way to fix old transistor radios using spare car parts and glass from broken solar yard lights. He's teaching others. He doesn't charge. He just asks for stories. If you bring him a tale, he'll bring you a voice. A fair trade. That's what this is all about now. Voice for voice, memory for warmth, signal for signal. And here at this station, I'll keep sending them out. One at a time, until the airwaves belong to the dark, or my hands give out. But we're not there yet. I want to end this hour with something simple. A voice message from a little girl near Boise. She whispered it into a radio powered by a hand crank her brother built from a mountain bike. It's just 8 words. If you're sad, go look at the moon. She's right. Go outside. Find it, even if it's a sliver, even if the clouds blur it. Because it's still there. So are we. And as long as there are voices on the wind, as long as laughter slips through the cracks, as long as people remember each other's names, we haven't lost. Not yet. This is Alex Reed. I'll be back soon. But for now, go look at the moon and hold fast.